So I went to the midnight release of Skyfall because, I loved Casino Royale and I liked Quantum of Solace. Don't judge, I liked it. I understood its problems, but I liked it. But I did something that I did with The Dark Knight Rises, which was I expected it to be like its predecessors, so I never got into it expecting it to be like the predecessors. It never did because, of course, it's its own film, and when it was over, I realized, well, really, I wasn't into it, so I didn't really know what to say except that I liked it. So I saw it again back home over break. We're here now. Let's do it. Skyfall starts with James Bond being shot on a mission, a drive being lost, Bond presumed dead, MI6 under attack by someone from M's past, M under scrutiny for losing this drive, the whole agency, being brought into question. Bond comes back to save the day. First, I just kind of want to say I love how it was shot. I don't know why, but it really struck me how it was shot. A lot of it has a really nice bluish, like a steely blue gray, cool feel to it. Most of the parts are in London, which makes sense for London. But most importantly, what stood out to me was the brilliant use of black, just pure black. I'm gonna stretch and say the majority of the scenes, majority of the shots have some part of the shot which is totally black, completely and utterly black. And this just accents, the foreground, the action, what's going on, really, really well. And it's almost, it's actually almost like a black and white movie in its sharp use of contrast, but in color, if that makes sense. Overall, it looks very unique, and I really, really liked looking at it. The writing is very good. I think this, now I realize this is what people didn't like about Quantum of Solace. It didn't quite have, a heart to it, some charm. But Skyfall does. There are a lot of Bond lines, great exchanges between characters, quick comebacks, and just overall strong writing in general. The story is much different than what you'd expect to be kind of the standard Bond storyline. Bond isn't Bond for a lot of it. He's pretty sloppy. His awesomeness isn't effortless anymore, which paired with a fairly significant subplot involving his childhood makes him really quite human. And also, this isn't, the villain isn't just some guy trying to blow up the world or take over a country or even funding terrorism like Casino Royale. It's a simple revenge story. I don't think I'm spoiling much. It's pretty clear from the trailers. It's a revenge story. The villain is going after M. And for the most part, we understand the villain's anger, though, we don't agree with his horrific actions, so he does remain a villain. It asks a lot of questions that keep Bond in the modern world. Like, do we need, double O's in the technology age of, hacking and cyber spying and all that? Of course, in the end, the answer is yes, we will always need James Bond. It also delves into M's character a lot. Not just her past with Silver the villain, but her job, as head of MI6. And the concept of a whole as dealing with life or death situations when your life isn't on the line. It isn't your life on the line. It's all very fascinating and well done, though, the whole movie itself isn't exactly philosophical. The action is top-notch, as always. There's a great bike chase across rooftops at the beginning, a train scene, which are always really fun, a siege of a mansion, which I hadn't seen before, tons of great stunts, takedowns, and the highlight for me was a silhouette fist fight between Bond and a sniper, which, kind of exemplifies the great use of pitch black. The whole scene actually reminded me of Blade Runner, which, that's a good thing. Stupid mirrored camera. If you're going just for action, you'll be more than happy, but it should be stated that it has much, much more to offer than just that. Let's get to the performances. Minor characters are all good. The new Q is fine, but he doesn't have too much screen time. Ray Fiennes, I always enjoy, and I look forward to seeing him in the next Bonds. Solid performance from him. Albert Finney's booming, awesome voice needed to be in it more, but he's very enjoyable while he's there. The two Bond girls are good, but again, they're just not given too much screen time. I think that's the movie's biggest flaw. A lot of the characters are just kind of there and go away, but nothing terrible, just, a little oversight. And even some of the extras are hilarious, and they're just kind of sprinkled without. It's hard to bring up examples, without explaining a scene, and I don't want to get into that. Daniel Craig's Bond is perfect. Like I said before, it's great to see him. Like, we've seen him physically beat up a bunch, but it was great to see him psychologically broken to the point where he isn't Bond. Really at all. I mean, he's still kind of smooth, but he isn't the perfect killer like before. And like I said, makes him more identifiable and human. Judi Dench finally gets a role that she can do stuff with. I love how her past is brought up. It makes the character more complex, more three dimensional when she has to deal with her past. I love how it kind of talks about how she deals with this incredibly stressful job of running MI6 while also taking so much heat for a few slip ups she made on that job. It's all very compelling. And finally, the villain, played by Javier Bardem. He is legitimately intimidating, yet likable. He's funny, yet savage. He's totally crazy, yet intelligent. We've seen this villain before, but this is such an amazing performance. It just blows my mind. A lot of people criticize him for being too flamboyant in a way, and I think they're missing the point. He knows he's doing this. He's being ironically flamboyant. He approaches the final showdown with Bond in a helicopter, blaring this cheesy song through speakers on the bottom of the helicopter. He knows this is silly. He knows he's so freaking intimidating that he can get away with playing cheesy music, which makes him more terrifying. I was in love with this character from his first set of lines, which was easily one of the best villain speeches in cinema history, I kid you not. I totally get why this highly respected, Academy Award winning actor chose a Bond villain role. There is a lot to it, and he does an incredible job. So the big question is this better than Casino Royale? That depends. Casino Royale focuses on the romance between Bond and Vesper, which I personally really, really liked. Whereas Skyfall focuses on kind of the past meeting the present, not just in terms of the characters, but also their roles in the world. Either way, Skyfall is a phenomenal film. I highly, highly recommend you see it. It's a perfect way to celebrate the 50 years of our beloved 007. It contains quite a few references to the older films, which, as someone who hasn't seen any of the older ones, I'm sorry, I still understood and really appreciated them. It satisfies the Bond fan, the action fan, the common moviegoer, and even, the more cultured viewer who's wanting some more insightfulness and creativity. It's a prime example of a mega blockbuster action flick still managing to carry a lot of emotional weight and get a lot of money, to put it bluntly. And, you know what? That gives me hope in modern cinema.